The biggest lesson that I've learned from being in 15 years worth of long-term relationships is to never get complacent. This is something I really struggled with. I had to learn the hard way. And you might be able to relate with what I'm about to share with you, because this is a common issue that a lot of men are faced with, especially in long-term relationships and marriages. But I want to share my side of the story. And 3 years ago, my 7-year relationship came to an end. And if I was to go back to the start of that relationship, I remember I was leading the relationship strong. I looked after my appearance. I was going to the gym maybe at least 3 to 4 times per week, eating relatively clean. And I was doing okay for a man in his 20s. And during the honeymoon stage, everything was amazing, as it always is. But 3 months into that relationship, I made a terrible mistake. I moved in to her place. I thought about convenience. So after a year of being in that relationship, that's when the cracks really started to show. And I started to get complacent. I slowly started to skip the gym. I'd start to train maybe once or twice per week. I didn't eat clean anymore, so I packed on a lot of fat. I didn't grow my business. I was just maintaining my business. It had so much potential for growth, but I was just maintaining. I started to indulge in vices like alcohol and smoking weed. And instead of focusing on my personal growth, my business growth, I would find myself just indulging in pointless routines with my partner, where we would just watch Netflix. We'd just keep going to restaurants and eating junk food, ordering a bunch of takeout. And this is what we essentially did on a daily basis. I started to lose contact with my friends. And again, that was a massive mistake I made, because every time my friends would try to make plans with me, I'd say to them, "Oh, look, I'm busy this weekend." And I didn't really have anything going on. I was just spending time with my partner, but I would neglect my friends. And at that point of the relationship, she had lost respect for me. All my insecurities, all my weaknesses, they all came to light. And I could see that she no longer had that genuine burning desire towards me. The physical intimacy completely decreased. We were maybe doing it once every fortnight. She would tell me, "I'm too tired, I'm not in the mood, let's just wait for the weekend." And that felt very degrading, being a man. But I could see in her eyes that she no longer had that interest that she had for me at the start. And I understand, as relationships go on, it's not going to be exactly the same as day one. But I could feel that she lost her genuine burning desire towards me. And we would have more and more toxic arguments. She'd put me through a bunch of shit tests. And essentially at this point, I had completely lost my frame. I was no longer the leader in her eyes. She was not able to remain in her feminine energy. And because I settled, because I got complacent, I wasn't striving for anything else in life. And the dynamic in that relationship completely shifted. It went from me leading to her now leading the relationship, because I settled. I wasn't striving for more. I let myself go. And deep down, she wanted to get married. She wanted to have children. She wanted to start a family. But it was me that let that relationship drag on for so long. That's why it went for 7 years. When I look at it now, it's the best thing that ever happened to me. But at the time, she wanted to take it to the next level, but I didn't, because I let myself go, because I settled for less. I wasn't happy with the man that I saw back in the mirror. And if I was to have children, I knew that I wasn't going to be the right role model. And this relationship completely hit its expiry period. It just kept dragging on. It wasn't heading anywhere, and she could feel it. I knew this, she knew this. But because we had spent a lot of time together, it was hard for myself to break up with her. I knew I should have let her go, but I kept holding on to her because my fear and scarcity mindset kept me trapped. I had these thoughts where I was thinking, I'm not going to meet anyone else like her. I'm probably going to be single. It's going to take me too long to meet someone else again. I don't want to start dating again. I was trapped in fear. And she didn't really have the courage to break up with me until it got to the 7-year mark. That's when she said, I can no longer do this. She left, she packed her bags, and she went to another state. And as much as that hurt at the time, that was the biggest wake-up call for me. Because for once, I started to take personal responsibility. I started to look at my faults. And there was a lot of shame and guilt after dealing with the breakup, because I know I made a lot of mistakes. She wasn't perfect, but I made a lot of mistakes. I was responsible. I'm the man in that relationship. I was leading at one point, and then I settled. I lost my frame. And this is something that happens to a lot of men in long-term relationships. You might be able to relate as well. You might have been in this position before. But in marriages, a lot of guys get complacent. The partner ends up just losing respect, and you end up in a sexless marriage, a sexless relationship. There's no genuine burning desire that she has towards you anymore. So after that breakup, I really analyzed the last 15 years of my relationships. Why I kept getting in the same position over and over again. It wasn't just this relationship I got complacent in, it was previous relationships as well, where it would start off strong and I would get complacent. And once I dived deep into the problem, I understood why men settle in relationships, why they actually get complacent. Because there's a number one reason. And what I know today is what I apply in my current relationship. And there's a reason why this relationship has a strong dynamic where I lead and she follows. And I stay in my masculine frame. I'm able to maintain my masculine frame. To be honest, it's actually not difficult to maintain a relationship when you focus purely on having purpose. This is the number one thing that any man must have before getting themselves in a relationship. I'm sharing advice personally that I had to learn the hard way from. So I don't want you to make the same mistake. Before getting yourself in the next relationship, make sure that you have purpose. I thought in my previous relationship that was the missing piece of the puzzle. That's going to make my life amazing. Even though I had a business, I had all these other things, I still felt empty inside. I didn't have that purpose. I didn't know what my purpose was. So I thought my purpose was to get myself in a relationship and everything would just work itself out. But no, once I got that relationship, I ended up settling. And it wasn't because I wasn't grateful. It was because I didn't have purpose to begin with. I didn't understand all these things. And that's why that empty void starts to come into play after the honeymoon period, and you will end up getting complacent. You will end up settling. And if your relationship doesn't drag on like my one did, she'll end up just breaking up with you, or you'll go through a divorce, or she'll say to you, I no longer feel the same way. And that will completely destroy you as a man. So why get yourself in this position? I want you to take advice from someone like me who's made a lot of mistakes in the last 15 years. These are topics that I talk about because this has happened to me. And when you make the same mistake over and over again, you understand exactly what doesn't work and what does work. And this is non-negotiable. Before you get yourself in your next relationship, you must have purpose. You must have a deeper why. Something that gets you out of bed. Where you don't make the woman your purpose. for you to remain in your masculine frame. Your masculine frame, just to keep it simple, is a man that operates with purpose, a man that has values, a man that leads by example, a man that leaves a dent in the universe, a man that looks after himself mentally, physically, and spiritually. This is your masculine identity as a man. If you don't have this, you don't have masculine frame. You might think you do, but you actually don't. Because when you get in a relationship, that's why you end up with either the wrong woman by settling for less, or she ends up breaking up with you. She loses that genuine burning desire. She loses that respect, like the previous relationship that I was in. So having purpose is something that's non-negotiable. You must have this. This must be the thing that gets you out of bed. This must be the thing that you focus on. And a byproduct of you having purpose is attracting the right woman to complement your life, where you don't need her. And that's the reason why us men make mistakes where we get ourselves in relationships and we make the woman the center of our world. We don't have that purpose. We're not striving for anything else far deeper, far greater than a woman. We make her the purpose. And when we make her the purpose, she becomes the center of our world, the sole focus. And women, they want to be with an ambitious man with purpose. This is how they're biologically hardwired to be. They're attracted to men who want to leave a legacy behind, a man that doesn't make her the center of his world. So your attention becomes scarce and limited. So when she does spend time with you, it's valuable time. For example, you focus on yourself, you focus on your purpose, even if you're in a relationship. And then it comes to a time where you spend, let's say, a couple of hours of uninterrupted time with your partner. She would rather you do this than you always be available. It's not attractive to a woman when a man is always available, when he's always predictable. This is how you kill the spark in the relationship. This is where you end up just getting complacent and she just loses that interest, that genuine burning desire. There's no mystery to the relationship. I killed all the mystery in that previous relationship. I was too predictable. I was depending on the other person to fill that empty void because I thought she was my purpose. She was the missing piece of the puzzle. When I had to actually look within, I had the answers within. You have the answers within. But it's just we don't sit in solitude longer enough to work on our purpose, to fix those insecurities, maybe generational trauma that you've been through. But we get ourselves in relationships so we can depend on the other person to fill that empty void. So that's why I'm saying it will only last so long. At the start of the relationship, everything will be amazing. Then you will get complacent. You'll end up settling. She will see your true colors. She will see that you're not really ambitious. You're not the guy that she first met. And then she starts to back off. And it will eventually end in a breakup or a divorce or a sexless marriage. And you'll just stay together just because of the kids. You don't want to be like this. If you want to experience a thriving relationship, you must have purpose, which is part of your masculine frame, your masculine identity. And that's the biggest advice that I will give any man. And my partner knows that my purpose is very important to me, that it will come first, that I need to focus on that. It doesn't mean that I treat her badly, that I don't care for her, that I don't love her. It's just my focus is purely on my purpose and me maintaining my masculine frame, so she therefore gets the better version of me. So we therefore don't have pointless arguments in the relationship. I'm able to solve problems, not create problems. So when she does spend time with me, it's romantic, valuable time. And she understands this. She actually agrees with this. And it's not just her. A lot of successful relationships and marriages or majority of them, are men that have purpose, men that strive for more, men that are well-rounded, not just financially, but in all areas. If you want to have a good woman by your side, you want to have a thriving relationship, you want her to complement your life, make your life easy, give you good energy, not take your energy away from you. Avoid toxic relationships, pointless arguments, because she knows that you've got a greater why. She knows that you want to leave a legacy behind, that you're heading in this direction. So you invite her into your life because you're heading this way, and she comes with you on the journey. That's how you can bring a good woman into your life. Because if you have no mission, no destination that you're sailing towards, no legacy that you're leaving behind, well, then you're just going to settle for less. You're going to end up being in a relationship with a woman that you don't really want to be in, but you're doing it because it's better than being single. It's better than being lonely. It fills that empty void that you have inside. So I hope you can take what I'm saying seriously, because I only want you to thrive in your relationships, in life. That's what my channel's about. And that's why I speak about these things so deeply, because I personally have been through this. When you make the same mistake over and over and over again, and then finally you take responsibility after hitting a low point, a breaking point, you learn valuable lessons, and you're no longer that old identity. You just want to share it with the world. That's why I've got this channel, so I can share exactly what not to do and what I currently do now, which works. So that's what it's all about. I just want to share this wisdom. I want to pass it on to you so you can therefore not make the same mistakes I did. Hopefully you can wake up and take what I'm saying seriously so you don't have to waste a bunch of time. So if you need that help, I can help you build that purpose as a man. Build your masculine frame. Live a purposeful life and not get yourself in these situations. Understand what it takes to maintain a relationship. Because the dating part is the easiest part, but maintaining a relationship, it's a complete different ballgame. And I've got so much wisdom that I can share with you to help you not make the same mistakes I've made. So remember, there is no way around this. If you don't have purpose, if you're not striving for more, you're going to unconsciously put the woman on a pedestal and she will lose interest towards you. You'll end up just settling for less. You will get complacent. You will let yourself go. And when she loses that genuine burning desire, that's when she really starts to lose respect for you. That's when your relationship will completely start going downhill. So why let it get to this stage? Why not fix this problem when you can? So therefore, when you get in your next relationship, you don't have to go through the headache. You know what you want as a man. You've got that purpose. You're no longer going to settle for less. You're living a purposeful life. You've got that masculine frame. If you need that help, I can help you get there. This is what I've done for myself, and this is currently what I help other guys with as well. So if you want, you can click the link down below. You can book a free one-to-one coaching call with me, and I'll see if you're the right fit for the program. If you're new to my channel, hit the subscribe button. If you want to drop your comments down below. I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.